The Show-Me Cannabis podcast.
Hi YouTube, this is Show-Me Cannabis Executive Director John Payne, and this week we're going to be giving you a preview of our legislative activities for the 2015 legislative session. Last year's legislative session was the best one ever for cannabis law reformers in Missouri. We actually passed some bills that we supported, such as the revision of the criminal code and also the CBD oil bill. But in addition to that, we also had a number of positive hearings on other bills, such as on industrial hemp bill, a legalization bill, and medical marijuana bills. So those are all things that point to progress that is going to be easier to accomplish this year. For the 2015 legislative session, the two overarching goals for Show-Me Cannabis are going to be passing an industrial hemp bill and broader medical cannabis reform. Last year, we had a hearing on an industrial hemp bill in the House Economic Development Committee. What was interesting about this bill last year was that in addition to having a Democratic sponsor, we also had some Republican co-sponsors, which to my knowledge had not happened before. So we received the hearing, and it passed out of committee by an overwhelming vote. I can't remember the exact number, but I think it was about 22-2. So we believe that this same bill will be back, possibly somewhat modified, but will probably be heard in the same committee, and then I believe we'll likely receive a vote on the floor. I think this is the area where we have the highest chance of making progress this session because there's very little opposition out there to industrial hemp. And so this is going to be, I think, the year that industrial hemp legalization will likely happen in Missouri. With the passage of the CBD oil bill last year, the legislature has now acknowledged that cannabis has some medical utility. But we also had positive hearings on broader medical cannabis bills in the previous years. So I believe the legislature is possibly ready to pass broader medical reforms. I think the key element for us in the coming session is to find Republican sponsorship and public Republican support for these bills, because the legislature is now even more Republican than it was in previous years, nearly 70% at this point. So obviously nothing is going to pass without substantial support from the majority party. But I think we are hopefully finding some of those Republican sponsors, and I think there is a good chance that we will see either a legislative bill passed on medical cannabis or possibly a legislative referendum to the 2016 ballot. Of course, to pass any of this legislation, we need help from people like you. Emailing, calling, and visiting your legislators are the key elements to this. Legislators do listen to their constituents. They may not always agree with them, but they take their views seriously because they know that for every constituent that they hear from, that represents dozens, hundreds, perhaps thousands of other constituents that agree with them and want to see this issue advanced. So the most important thing you can possibly do is if you have some time, come with us to Jefferson City. Feel free to send me an email at john@showmecannabis.com or get a hold of us through our website, Facebook, what have you, and I can try to find your legislators and arrange a meeting for you in Jefferson City or in the district. Thanks for joining us this week, and next week we will be discussing the questions and comments to our initiative.
Show-Me Cannabis, fighting to reform Missouri cannabis laws. Find us at show-mecannabis.com, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Together, we can reform Missouri cannabis law.